Today, we will answer the question, what is a nebula? We'll explore what they're made of, how they form, and what types of nebulae exist in the universe. Thank you for watching. Let's begin. A nebula is a giant and often beautiful cloud of interstellar gas and dust that can be seen in the night sky either as a bright patch or a dark silhouette. The word nebula comes from Latin and means mist or fog. Nebulae are mostly made of hydrogen and helium. Other elements like carbon, nitrogen, magnesium, potassium, calcium, iron, and more can also be found in nebulae, just in much smaller quantities. They also contain tiny solid particles called dust grains, which are composed of heavier elements like iron, silicon, and carbon. Nebulae can have many different shapes, sizes, colors, and temperatures, depending on their origin and environment. Nebulae are often the birthplaces or the graveyards of stars. Some nebulae are formed when a massive star explodes at the end of its life in a spectacular event called a supernova. The shockwave from the explosion sweeps up the surrounding gas and dust and creates a glowing shell of debris called a supernova remnant. One example of this type of nebula is the Crab Nebula, which is the remains of a star that exploded in 1054 AD and was visible to the naked eye for several months. Other nebulae are formed when a less massive star runs out of fuel and ejects its outer layers into space in a much more gradual process. The core of the star remains as a hot and dense object called a white dwarf, which illuminates the surrounding gas and dust with its ultraviolet radiation. This type of nebula is called a planetary nebula, not because it has anything to do with planets, but because it looks like a fuzzy round shape when viewed through early telescopes. These nebulae can only form from stars that have masses between 0.8 and 8 times that of the Sun. Stars that are more massive than that will end their lives in supernova explosions, while stars that are less massive than that will become white dwarfs without shedding their outer layers. One example of this type of nebula is the Helix Nebula, also known as the Eye of God. Many other nebulae are formed by the gravitational collapse of interstellar gas and dust over millions of years. These nebulae are called diffuse nebula, also known as star-forming regions or stellar nurseries, because they are where new stars are born. As the gas and dust clump together under their own gravity, they form denser regions called molecular clouds. This process is triggered by a number of external factors, such as shock waves from supernova explosions, collisions between molecular clouds, or gravitational interactions with nearby stars or galaxies. These factors can compress and disturb the gas and dust, making them more prone to collapse into clumps called cores, where they can become hot and dense enough to ignite nuclear fusion and create new stars. The radiation from these young stars can ionize the surrounding gas and make the nebula glow brightly. This is called an emission nebula, simply because they emit their own light. One example of a diffuse nebula and an emission nebula is the Orion Nebula. This is one of the most famous and visible star-forming regions in the sky that also produces its own light from the radiation of the stars within. Some nebulae are formed by the reflection or scattering of light from nearby stars. These are called reflection nebulae because they reflect the light that hits them. They usually appear blue in color because blue light is scattered more efficiently than red light by the dust grains in the nebula. Reflection nebulae are often associated with emission nebulae or star-forming regions because they are illuminated by young and bright stars. One example of this type of nebula is the Pleiades, which is a cluster of young stars surrounded by stunning blue nebulae. Other nebulae are formed by the absorption or blocking of light from distant stars or galaxies. These are called dark nebulae because they appear as dark patches or silhouettes against a brighter background. They are composed of dense clouds of gas and dust that obscure the light behind them. Dark nebulae can also be part of larger molecular clouds or star-forming regions, where they provide the raw material for new stars to form. One example of this type of nebula is the Horsehead Nebula, which is a dark cloud shaped like a horse's head in front of a bright emission nebula. As you can see, nebulae are fascinating and diverse objects that reveal the wonders and mysteries of our universe. They are not only beautiful to look at, but they are also important because they help us understand how stars and planets are born and die. I hope you enjoyed this video and learned something new about these beautiful cosmic clouds. If you did, feel free to show your support with a like or by sharing this video with someone else who may enjoy it. I would also love to hear your thoughts in the comments. And if you would like to see more videos like this, feel free to subscribe. Thanks again, and until next time, take care and be well.